And now, Introduce Everything proudly presents Elevenorella. It is based on the story of Cinderella with a bit of a twist. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there was a young adult girl named Elevenorella. Elevenorella had 6 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters named Ella, Lola, Asha, Vada, Elsa, and Nina. All 6 of them made fun of Elevenorella and made her do all the chores. Elevenor, wench! Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, clean out the pantry, do it all, said Ella, Lola, Asha, Vada, Elsa, and Nina, all together. One day, the king of Elevenville's messenger arrives and says, Hear ye, the king of Elevenville is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Unicopling. But Elevenorella is not welcome. Her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters are. He's going to marry me, said Ella. No way, Ella, you're wrong. He's going to marry me, said Lola. Both of you are wrong. He's going to marry me, said Asha. Vada said, all 3 of you are wrong. He's going to marry me, said Elsa. All 4 of you are wrong. He's going to marry me, Nina, the youngest stepsister, said. All 5 of you are wrong. He's going to marry me. Later, Elevenorella is so sad about not going to the ball and marrying Prince Unicopling. Suddenly, her fairy godmother arrives and asks her Elevenorella what's wrong by saying, There, Elevenorella, why are you crying, my dear? In which Elevenorella responds, I have lots of chores to do, but I can't go to the ball and marry Prince Unicopling. Elevenorella's fairy godmother can make her wish come true by saying, I can help with a bit of magic. Nobody will know it's you. And so she waves her magic wand to clean up all the chores for Elevenorella. But she's not done yet, she said. Elevenorella, go fetch me a pumpkin and some mice. Luckily, Elevenorella has 11 pumpkins and 22 mice. Elevenorella's fairy godmother waves her magic wand again to turn the 11 pumpkins into a handsome coach, 22 mice into horses, and then Elevenor's ripped clothes into a gown and crown. Elevenorella said, I've never seen such a double wonderful gown. You get a load of my glass slippers and climbs into the coach. Her fairy godmother says, have fun, Elevenorella, my dear, but I will warn you. Return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken, and everything will change back to the way it was before. It gives her a clock to tell her what time it is, and so Elevenorella accepts the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, the king of Elevenville says, Good evening, all. My son, Prince Unicopling, was wondering who he should marry. Isn't that right, son? In which Prince Unicopling responds, Yes, father. Suddenly, Elevenorella arrives at the ball just in time. Ella, Lola, Asha, Vada, Elsa, and Nina say, He's walking towards me altogether, but he's not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards Elevenorella. May I have this dance? Prince Unicopling then asks, to which Elevenorella responds, I would be delighted. Prince Unicopling and Elevenorella dance happily together. But later, as Elevenorella checks her clock, and it's almost midnight, so she scurried out of the ball. And she was running so fast that she lost one of her glass slippers. Prince Unicopling was so worried and sad that he might never see Elevenorella again. The king of Elevenville comforts him by saying, There now, son. I think we'll be able to find Cinderella, my dear daughter-in-law, and so the King of Elevenville and Prince Unicorn began their journey all around the neighborhood to try to find Elevenorella and brought the glass slipper she lost with them. By the time they arrived, they knocked on the door of the house where Elevenorella, Ella, Lola, Asha, Vada, and Elsa and Nina all together live. But instead of Elevenorella, they find Ella, Lola, Asha, Vada, Elsa, and Nina. Prince Unicorn then says, "Ladies, my father, the King of Elevenville, and I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try on this glass slipper?" Ella is first, but her foot is too big. Lola is next, but her foot is too small. "Nonsense! It fits!" she said. Asha, Vada, Elsa, and Nina did the same thing, but none of their feet are the right size either. Suddenly, the King of Elevenville and Prince Unicorn noticed Elevenorella sweet singing. She heard excitedly, overjoyed, "Prince Unicorn and your majesty, is that you guys?" The King of Unicorn says, "My dear daughter-in-law, we found you. Will you marry Prince Unicorn?" To which Elevenorella hollered more overjoyed, "Yes!" And so, Elevenorella, the King of Unicorn and Prince Unicorn lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story, interest doers. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and introduce everything. And I've been debating on making the sequels a bit of tradition. So if you want to see maybe someday, or 1102, 11 wishes come true, something like that. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and introduce everything, and buy our merchandise at introduceeverything.com. Take care. Bye. Andrew's Doers Introduce Everything roundly presents 33 Rella for the Frieza 1300 episode special. As the title suggests, it is based on the story of Cinderella with a bit of a twist. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there was a young woman girl named 33 Rella. 33 Rella had 11 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters named Tasha, Hilda, Isabella, Ramona, Tanya, Irina, Tilly, Hallie, Ruby, Erin, and Emily. All 11 of them made fun of 33 Rella and made her do all the chores. 33 wench! Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all! Said Tasha to Emily all together. One day, the King of Troubleville's messenger arrives and says, "Hear ye! Hear ye! The King of Troubleville's Royal Majesty is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Treasure Toppling." "Can I come?" asked 33 Rella. But she is not welcome. Her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters are. "He's going to marry me," said Tasha, the oldest stepsister. But her younger stepsisters disagreed. They even tear 33 Rella's dress. And her best party dress. Later, 33 Rella is so sad, distraught, and upset about not going to the ball, marrying Prince Treasure Toppling. Suddenly, her fairy godmother rises and comforts her. 33 Rella, there now, my dear 33 Rella, she said. "I'll fix everything for you." She then waves her magic wand. Because of that, 33rella's chores are all done. But her fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, 33rella, my dear, go fetch me a pumpkin and some ice. Luckily, 33rella has 33 pumpkins and 66 mice. 33rella fairy godmother waves her magic wand again to turn the 33 pumpkins into a handsome coach. The 66 mice into horses and fixes 33rella's torn dress and makes it bigger and better. 33rella said, I've never seen such a trigetabletastic gown. And get a load of my glass slippers, fairy godmother. How can I ever thank you enough? And climbed into the coach. 33rella's fairy godmother said, well, you can't, but have fun, 33rella, my dear. But I would warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken, and everything will change back to the way it was before. Anne gave her a clock to tell her what time it is. And so, 33rella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, the king of Troubleville, who is very kind, wise, etc., says, good evening, everyone. My son, Prince Trigetupling, was wondering who he should marry. Isn't that right, son? In which Prince Trigetupling responds, yes, father. Suddenly, 33rella arrived at the ball just in time. He's walking towards me, say Tasha, Hilda, Isabella, Ramona, Tanya, Irina, Hallie, Ruby, Aaron, and Emily all together. But Prince Trigetupling is not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards 33rella. Prince Trigetupling then says, may I have this dance? In which 33rella responds, I would be delighted. And so 33rella and Prince Trigetupling dance happily together. But later, 33rella checks her clock, and it's almost midnight. So she scurried out of the ball, and she was running so fast that she lost one of her glass slippers. Prince Trigetupling was really worried that he might never see 33rella again. The king of Troubleville comforts him by saying, there now, son. I think we'll be able to find 33rella, my dear daughter-in-law. And so, the king of Troubleville and Prince Trigetupling began their journey all around Troubleville to find 33rella and brought the glass slipper she lost with them. By the time they arrived, they knock on the door of the house where 33rella and her 11 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters lived. But instead of 33rella, they find her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters, Tasha and Emily. Prince Trigetupling then said, ladies, my father, the king of Troubleville, and I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try on this glass slipper? Tasha is first, but her foot is too big. Hilda is next, but her foot is too small. Nonsense! It fits! She said. The rest did the same, but none of their feet are the right size. Suddenly, the king of Troubleville and Prince Trigetupling noticed 33rella singing. Your Majesty and Prince Trigetupling, is that you guys? She hollered excited. The glass slipper fits! And 33rella and the king of Troubleville and Prince Trigetupling lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story, Andrews Doers. And I've been debating on making the sequels. So if you want to see maybe someday 33 2, 33 Wishes Come True, something like that. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Internet Everything. Buy our merchandise at interneteverything.com. Take care. Bye. And now, Internet Everything proudly presents 55-erella. It is based on the story of Cinderella, with a bit of a twist. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there lived a young woman named 55-erella. 55-erella had 10 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters named Fatina, Ivana, Fernanda, Tasha, Yadina, Fiona, Isabella, Verona, and Ella. Fatima, Ivana, Fernanda, Tasha, Yadina, Fiona, Isabella, Verona, and Ella. May 55-erella do all the chores. 55-er wench! Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all! Said Fatima, Ivana, Fernanda, Tasha, Yvonne, Fiona, Isabella, Verona, and Ella all together. One day, the king of 55-ham's messenger arrives and says, Hear ye, hear ye! The king of 55-ham is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Quinquadragintupling. But 55-erella is not welcome. Her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters are. He's going to marry me, said Fatima, the oldest stepsister. Ivana said, No way, Fatima. He's going to marry me. The rest said, No, he's going to marry me. Later, 55-erella is so sad, distraught and upset doing chores about not going to the ball, and marry Prince Quinquadragintupling. Suddenly, her fairy godmother arrives and comforts 55-erella by saying, There now, my dear sweet 55-erella. I can help with a bit of magic, and waves her magic wand. And because of that, 55-erella's chores are all done. But her fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, 55-erella, go fetch me a pumpkin and some mice. Luckily, 55-erella has 55 pumpkins and 110 mice. 55-erella's fairy godmother waves her magic wand again to turn the 55 pumpkins into a handsome coach, the 110 mice into horses, and 55-erella's fairy clothes into a gown and crown. 55-erella says, I've never seen such a quinquadragintupling-tastic gown. Get a load of my glass slippers. Fairy godmother, how can I ever thank you enough? 55-erella's fairy godmother says, Well, you can't. But have fun, 55-erella. But I would warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken and everything will change back to the way it was before. Back to normal. And gives her a clock to tell her what time it is. 55-erella accepted the warning and climbed into the coach. Meanwhile, at the ball, the king of 55-ham says, Good evening, everyone. My son, Prince Quinquadragintupling, was one who he owed to marry. Isn't that right, son? In which Prince Quinquadragintupling responds, Yes, father. Suddenly, 55-erella arrives just in time for the ball. Fatima, Ivana, Fernanda, Tasha, Yadina, Fiona, Isabella, Verona, and Ella say, He's walking towards me! All together, but he's not walking towards any of them. Prince Queen Quadriga Toppling is walking towards 55 Arella. May I have this dance? asks Prince Queen Quadriga Toppling, in which 55 Arella responds, I would be delighted. Prince Queen Quadriga Toppling and 55 Arella dance happily together. But later, as 55 Arella checks her clock, it's almost midnight! And so she scurried out of the ball. And she was running so fast that she lost one of her glass slippers. Prince Queen Quadriga Toppling is really sad and worried that he might never see 55 Arella again. The king of 55 Arella comforts him by saying, There now, son. I think we'll be able to find her. And so, the king of 55 Ingham and Prince Queen Quadriga Toppling began their journey all around 55 Ingham to find 55 Arella and brought the glass slipper with them. By the time they arrive, they knock. Prince Queen Quadriga Toppling knocks on the door of the house where 55 Arella and her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters live. But instead of 55 Arella, they find her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters. Prince Queen Quadriga Toppling then says, Ladies, my father and I have a favor to ask. Can you try on this glass slipper? Fatima is first, but her foot is too big. Ivana is next, but her foot is too small. Nonsense! It fits, she said. The rest are the same, but none of their feet are the right size. Suddenly, Prince Queen Quadriga Toppling and the king of 55 Ingham noticed 55 Arella singing. Prince Queen Quadriga Toppling, is that you? She hollered excitedly. Prince Queen Quadriga Toppling says, Of course it's me. My father and I found you. I love you. Will you marry me? And the glass slipper fits. And so, 55 Arella, the king of 55 Ingham, and Prince Queen Quadriga Toppling lived happily ever after. The end. And I bet it was a fun story, right, Andrew Stewart? I've been debating on making some sequels. So, if you want to see maybe someday 55 Arella 2, 55 Wishes Come True, tell your friends about it, okay? And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Does Everything. And buy our merchandise at AndrewDoesEverything.com. And have you found your prince or princess? Just let me know, and maybe my Cinderella parodies will come true and become real. Take care, Andrew Stewart. Bye. And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents 77 Arella. It is based on the story of Cinderella with a plot twist. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there was a young woman named 77 Arella. 77 Arella had 12 ugly, mean, and wicked stepsisters named Sabrina, Estrella, Veronica, Emma, Natalia, Tasha, Yelena, Sophia, Ella, Valeria, Eleonora, and Nina. 12 of them constantly made fun of 77 Arella and always made her do all the chores. 77, wench! Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all! Said the 12 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters all together. And then one day, the king of 77ville's messenger arrives and says, Hear ye, that king of 77ville is going to roll a ball and loss with his son, Prince Septa Toppling. Sabrina, Estrella, Veronica, Emma, Natalia, Tasha, Yelena, Sophia, Ella, Valeria, Eleanor and Nina ran with huge excitement and picked out dresses to wear to the ball, but argue over who Prince Septa Tumney fall in true love with. Later, 77 is distraught, upset, and sad about not going to the ball. Whatever will I do? She whimpers. Suddenly, 77's fairy godmother arrives and comforts her. There, now, 77 I can turn you into a princess with a bit of magic. Nobody will know it's you, she said. 77's fairy godmother waves her magic wand to do all the chores for 77 turn her attire into a princess's attire. And even a pair of glass slippers appear on her feet. 77 says, I've never seen such a gentle-tastic gown. And I love my new glass slippers. But how am I going to get to the ball? Fortunately, 77's fairy godmother turned 77 pumpkins and 150 mice into a handsome coach drawn by horses. 77 says, Oh, fairy godmother, how can I ever thank you enough? Says 77 Her fairy godmother says, Well, you can't. But I had fun, 77 But I will warn you to return home before midnight. That's when the spell will be broken and everything will change back to the way it was before. And so, 77 accepts the warning. At the ball, the wise and kind king of 77ville asks, Wondering who's your true love? Prince Septa Tumney, in which Prince Septa Tumney responds, Yes, father. 77 arrives at the ball just in time. Prince Septa sees who is his true love. Walks straight towards her. He's walking towards me, said Sabrina, Estrella, Veronica, Natalia, Emma, Tasha, Yelena, Sophia, Ella, Valeria, Eleanor, and Nina all together, but Prince Septa Tumney is not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards 77 He then says, You must be my true love, 77 May I please have this dance? Yes, said 77 overjoyed. And so, 77 and Prince Septa Tumney dance. Hamlet sing 77 as they dance, while the wise and kind King 77 watches them happily. Come on, 77 let's dance together. We'll be best friends forever. Who else could it be when both of us are in 77 heaven? Come on, Prince Septa Tumney, let's dance together. We'll be best friends forever. We're both in 77 heaven. But soon, 77 realized it's almost midnight, so she scurried out of the ball, and she was running so fast that she lost one of her glass slippers. The next day, the king of 77ville and Prince Septa Tumney traveled all around the neighborhood, 77ville, to find 77 who captured Prince Septa Tumney's heart and brought the glass slippers she lost with them. If they can find Prince Septa Tumney's true love, then they can get married. By the time they arrive, they knock on the door of the home where 77 and her ugly, mean, and wicked stepsisters lived. But instead of 77 they find her ugly, mean, and wicked stepsisters, Sabrina, Estrella, Veronica, Emma, Natalia, Tasha, Yelena, Sophia, Ella, Valeria, Eleanor, and Nina. Princess Gently then says, "Ladies, my father, the king of 77ville, and I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try on this leopard? Sabrina, the oldest stepsister, is first, but her foot is too big. Estrella is next, but her foot is too small." "Nonsense! It fits!" she said. The rest did the same thing, but none of their feet are the right size either. Just then, 77 arrives. She looks rather familiar. She then tries the glass slipper on and transforms back into a princess. And the king of 77ville and Princess Jin live happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story, Andrews Doers. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and do everything. And I've also been debating on completing a number of Cinderella parodies in the 70s of a tradition. Maybe I could do it a daily tradition that the numbers that start with the number 7. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and do everything. Buy our merchandise at nerdseverything.com. Andrews Doers, take care. Bye.